From Microbe TV, this is Q&A with A&V. I'm Vincent Racaniello, and joining me tonight from Chevy Chase, Maryland, Amy Rosenfeld. Hello, Amy.
Well, Vincent, how are you today?
I'm well, and how are you? Have you had a good day today?
Yeah, it's okay.
I just realized that Q&A from Microbe TV, Q&A with A&V is kind of a little rhymey thing there, isn't it?
Yeah, we had this discussion like 4 weeks ago.
Oh, we did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything good in the virus world, Amy?
I don't know. My virus world is good. Got a lot of viruses. I might be getting more. I'm very excited. Hopefully, somebody will be able to cough up some virus soon from South America.
I want to remind everyone of the promotion that is currently ongoing.
Oh, for my job?
I'm sorry, say that again.
For my job?
Yeah, that we're going to do that too. And then we're going to do.
Okay.
So first of all, over at vaccinated.us, they make T-shirts with Spike on them. You go to their Spike shop, and they have 3 kinds of fronts with a Spike image, vaccinated or vax gratitude or nothing, and you can buy them in blue or gray, a couple of other colors, men's and women's styles. Anyway, you pick one and you add it to your cart. You know, you can choose black, you can choose 3XL, you can add it to the cart. All right, and then when you go to your cart, you'll see apply coupon, and you put there Microbe TV and apply the coupon. And then what will happen is the profits from this purchase will go to Microbe TV. And we only announced this last week on the live stream, and so far they have sold $400 worth for us. Isn't that cool? Just from the live stream. And I haven't even mentioned on Twiv yet. So please go over to vaccinated.us. There is the URL. And buy some and support us. They only want to do it for the month of September, so I should get moving. And, of course, Amy Rosenfeld, an enterovirologist.
That would be me.
That's Amy. She's looking for a research assistant to help her do her experiments. And this assistant will help to do various enterovirus and cell culture experiments, animal models. And you need to have a bachelor's degree and some experience. But her email is amy.rosenfeld@fda.hhs.gov, correct?
That would be me.
So please tell your friends who want to work in science that there's a good position there at the FDA, which is in Maryland somewhere, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere in Maryland.
What's the name of the town where the FDA is located? Church Oak?
It's the White Oak campus, but it's part of Silver Spring.
Okay. And also tonight, thank you all for coming again on our regular nights. Good to see all of you. I want to thank our moderators, Les and Steph and Tom and Vanity Nutrition. I pause a little because I vacillate between Vanity Nutrition and the real name, and I want to make sure I get it right. Welcome all tonight.
Where's Frank?
I don't know where Frank is.
Guess he dropped out.
We have some very exciting guests coming up on Twiv.
Great.
Should I mention them, Amy?
Yeah, for sure.
So this Friday we have Tom Monath, who is Chief Scientific Officer at a very well-known vaccine company. He's worked for 40, 50 years on vaccines of all sorts. He helped develop Dengvaxi, among other things. So that should be interesting. On Monday, we have Eddie Holmes from Australia, who
I wrote to him for intros. Where are my intros, Eddie Holmes?
Did he answer?
Yeah, he said he didn't have virus yet, or he just had sequence. But that was a year ago. Needs to find some virus.
Anyway, he came up to me in Manchester. He said, I want to be on TWIV. So I said, sure. So we booked it. And he has so many cool things to talk about. So stay tuned for that. And then we have David Quammen coming on in a
Where's
couple of
Paul
weeks.
Offit?
Oh, sorry. A week from Friday, Paul Offit will be on. Okay. And then sometime in October, David Quammen will be on to discuss his new book, Breathless, which will come out sometime in October before the TWIV, of course. And I'm working on some other interesting TWIVs. So I am here to provide good science content for you. And
Well, what about the new one with Lori?
Tomorrow I'll be recording a pilot episode of a...
You gotta give Lori some love.
Yes, of course, of a potentially new podcast with Lori Garrett called Public Health with Lori Garrett. Well, that's what I think it should be, but she may have other ideas, and that's fine. And we're going to talk about wastewater testing tomorrow, and it's going to be a pilot to see how it does, because Lori doesn't think that a public health podcast would do well, but I think it would. But what do I know? What do I know? So we'll see how it does. And always good stuff coming from Microbe TV. So if you feel motivated, please support us, because there's nobody on the planet who does what we do. Nobody does good science stuff day in and day out, all different topics with different subject matter experts as we do. And we like to do it because we're passionate about our science. Today, of course, on Immune, we had two individuals who are involved in teaching immunology at small teaching colleges, and they talked about some of the things that they do. So good stuff coming from Microbe TV. What do you think of that, Amy?
Good.
Okay, so let's get into our questions here. A lot of people are talking about Neanderthals because we talked about Neanderthals today on TWIVO Livestream. That was a lot of fun. Glad to see there are 200 people here. So Pete says, hi from London. I just listened to the beginning of TWIVO. Same topic picked up by the BBC World Service Weekly Science in Action. Very good. Glad to see we picked the same thing. Barb Mack wants to know, the virus course, is there a textbook? Probably not, because they're really... I guess the only textbook would be Fields. It's way too expensive, right, Amy?
What virus course?
I'm going to teach a virus course.
When?
I don't know when I'm starting it, but I'm going to teach it. I promise to teach it, and I will teach it.
No, I don't think Fields is a good book for that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But stay tuned. Time to get a cup of English tea. That's a great idea. All right, rapid antigen tests using nucleocapsid. What is the question?
Does it use nucleocapsid? Yes.
Yes, it does. Do you know why, Ian, it uses nucleocapsid?
Because all the vaccines are against spike, and there's no way you would have nucleocapsid unless you were infected.
Right. So that tells you, nucleocapsid positivity tells you you've been infected, yeah. Which is what you'd like to know. Can we email Dixon, and do you think he'll see it? Yeah.
Hey, what happened to Z-Funk or Funk the Virus or Punk the whatever, Punk the Funk or whatever the guy.
Debunk the funk.
Yeah, what happened to him?
I'm working on it.
Which means you haven't moved at all since last week.
Show some love, Amy. Come on. We got a lot of people on TWIV these last few days. I'll get to it.
We just had this discussion with you, Daniel, and myself yesterday, right?
Yeah, so the part of the problem is I cannot wait for Fridays anymore. I have to do during the week TWIVs because there are too many guests. So I'm starting, like I booked Quammen on a Wednesday, I think, and I just said to the TWIV crew, whoever can make it, come, because I can't be spending time going through them and seeing who can come and who can't. Anyway, Dick, if you have Dixon's email, yeah, he'll answer it. If you don't have it, email me, Vincent@microbe.tv. I'll send it to you. Here's Vanity. I'll be popping in and out tonight using the Pomodoro study method. Do you know what this Pomodoro study method is? Does that mean you have spaghetti every now and then?
I don't know.
It's Pomodoro study method. Decide what you want to accomplish. Estimate how long. Break your work into Pomodoros. 25 minutes. Okay.
Like a packet?
Yeah, something like that.
Got it.
Very good. Well, good luck with that.
Good luck with the molecular biology.
Tom could take notes for me. Okay, the other thing is Jan, who is now in Italy, so she's not on the live stream. Jan T, who always comes on. She sent me this last week. This little field notes thing. It's a cute little thin thing, which she says I can put in my pocket. You see me walking around like that, Amy?
No.
She says, here's what she wrote. It's got nice detachable sheets of paper. She said, here's one solution to the sticky note problem. It fits in any pocket. Used pages tear out. Goes with you everywhere. Good paper, fun covers, cheap enough to use and toss. That has to go with you. So the only thing that's not good is that I don't get any other people to take notes for me. So maybe I could start by putting in here, Amy.
Why do you need other people to take notes for you?
I like
Are you
when
taking
people
an
do work for
exam
me.
and they're not going to highlight the important parts that you think are important? Although
Debunk
sometimes-
the funk. I put it there. What else do I have to do, Amy? Besides
I don't
debunk.
know.
You asked me
well,
something. But the point is I have to carry this around with me all day. And, of course, a pen in order to write in it. So it's complicated.
We should get you a pocket protector.
I think I might have had one when I was young.
Why am I not surprised?
Ian wants to know if Omicron BA 4.6 justifies a bivalent booster over a 50-year-old for the winter.
Not if you're healthy.
Did you hear that, what is the 4.26 or 4.27 is resistant to Evusheld?
I don't know.
That's what Daniel said. That's, you know who did that? David Ho's group at Columbia. Do you know him?
I do. I'm not surprised.
Anyway,
So let me get this straight. So the world has collapsed now, right?
What do you mean the world has collapsed?
Well, that's what Ho has always said, that it would, it's the world is collapsing because there's variants that escape monoclonal antibodies, right?
Yeah. Well, there's still Paxlovid if you need it.
Well, I'm sure that there's another antibody out there. You just have to find somebody who was infected with that isolate and have them donate. It's not rocket science. And in theory, that's what the whole Regeneron company should be doing.
Maybe they are.
I don't know.
Making new ones all the time.
I don't know. They kind of petered out.
They asked me to go and consult for them, but I never responded.
Well, that was a good plan.
I'm not sure I want to do that because I'm a little conflicted, you know.
How are you conflicted?
I talk about work. I criticize it when I don't like it.
So?
Maybe they don't like that. Maybe it's not confliction. It's just something else.
Well, I criticize work all the time because otherwise the right stuff doesn't get done. And I read stupid papers.
Anyway, Ian.
And people still write stupid things.
So, Ian, I will ask this question of Paul Offit in 8 days. Okay.
So I just heard him talk yesterday. No, doesn't justify it.
It doesn't justify, no? Okay. I wonder, I was curious about all you folks here, your 280 of you. What are you afraid of in terms of viruses? Are you afraid of SARS-CoV-2? Are you afraid of poliovirus? Are you afraid of monkeypox? Or are you good right now? Did you hear the other day, Amy, Biden said the pandemic is over in the U.S.?
Yeah, he didn't really mean to use the word over. What he meant was is become endemic. Yes, I saw. I didn't see the 60 Minutes, but I did. I did read the article.
So can a pandemic be on in some countries and not others?
If you're a U.S. centric, sure.
You can be funny, you know that, Amy?
And that is the rumor.
It's the rumor.
That is the rumor.
Well, maybe that we should ask Biden for his definition of pandemic, because we couldn't settle on one here on Q&A. Do you think he could contribute?
No.
Okay. So Ayush says, how drastically can we change the host range of a bacteriophage? Oh, what a good question.
Hugely.
So you could certainly change it within species easily, right? Different species. Is that right? So, or maybe genus. Yeah, different species like Escherichia coli, all those enteric bacteria. I bet you could make a phage expand to Salmonella or whatever else is in your gut, right?
Yeah, but that's not, yeah.
But I don't
I
think
bet
you
you
could
can
go.
go from, yeah, you can go from anaerobic to aerobic.
Yeah, but I don't think you can go from gram positive to negative. Probably there aren't a lot of common things on the surface, right?
You just change the, why would you need to use the commonality? You just put the structural proteins of something else on it. You pseudotype it.
Yes. And what about the interior parts, the permissivity? Do you think that's common among bacteria?
Sure. Who knows? I mean, Grams, we have no, I'm not a bacteriologist, so I'm not the right person to ask, but I would assume you could just pseudotype a phage just like we pseudotype VSV. Do you factor in whether or not the cell is permissive to VSV when we pseudotyped it with HIV envelope proteins or flu proteins or SARS-CoV-2 or anything else, rabies proteins, Nipah proteins? Did it ever, did you factor it in?
I bet if Michael Schmidt were here, he would know the answer.
Well, he's the
Michael, you here?
bacteriologist.
Michael, you used to come. Why don't you come anymore? Why don't you
That's
come?
good. Guilt and shame a Jew. Excellent plan.
He's Jewish?
I don't know.
Well, I'm not doing it because of his
I know, I was being
propensity.
facetious.
Okay.
Ay.
Okay.
Difficult being
Oh, look,
me.
Simon's at a Starbucks in Cupertino. Cupertino! Hey,
Is that California?
That's where they designed my computer that I'm sitting in front of. Yeah, that's in California. It's where Apple Computer headquarters is.
Oh.
What do you think about that? Is there a difference between neutralizing and sterilizing antibody?
You can't have a sterilizing antibody. We should stop using the word.
Yeah, that's not correct. Sterilizing immunity is when you prevent infection. I don't even like that, do you? Because it sounds like you're causing someone to become sterile, right? Which is another thing.
No, I don't
altogether.
think that it sounds like it. It's just wrong.
Anyway, and neutralizing antibody blocks infection. Sterilizing comes when you're talking about a person. If they have enough antibody, say, in their nasopharynx to completely block infection. And then he asks, can PFU be recovered from a neutralizing antibody virus complex? Yeah, you could do that. Do you know how you dissociate a antibody from a virus particle, Amy? I'm asking whether you know how to do that or not.
No, why don't you tell me how to do it?
I don't. I'm asking you if you know.
You can dissociate it by if it binds receptor in the receptor binding spot, you can compete it off with excess receptor.
I think low pH will do it also. In the case of polio, it's fine, but for SARS-CoV-2, low pH would inactivate it, right?
But would also inactivate the virus.
Right.
So that's not a good plan.
Well, polio wouldn't be inactivated by low pH, would they?
No, but I'm not sure it would. I'm not sure it would interrupt the pH antibody complex.
Anyway, it's theoretically possible, but practically it may be difficult to do. Martha says, thanks to you and Daniel, I had a plan. Tested positive in the morning, was swallowing Paxlovid in the afternoon. I sent $100 to Microbe TV and Parasites. Well, thank you so much, Martha. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. And Doreen last week had the same experience. She had a plan, and she tested positive, and the same day was taken Paxlovid. So I hope you're well, Martha.
Great.
It's all good. At a family wedding in London on Monday evening, the U.S. parents of the bride were over from Maryland and are real live biological scientists at the NIH. Great to have a chat with a real scientist. Amy is a real scientist. You have chats with her. Or you mean in person?
Yeah. It's good.
Why is the new booster classified as bivalent? It has old school BA4/5. That's why it's bivalent. It's got ancestral and BA4/5. The spike is the same in 4/5. So it's got 2 spikes. Correct, Amy?
Yes.
Now, FFHG was on the TWEVO today. He said he's in Iraq, which I find cool because I don't think we ever had anyone from Iraq before.
It is.
Philadelphia's coming back. What is it, the 29th, that Friday?
Or it's the 30th.
30th, and it'll post on October 2nd.
It's my sister's birthday.
Oh, Frank is wearing Vax Gratitude T-shirt. Thank you, Frank, for your support. Do you like the shirt?
It's great. Where is mine?
It's coming. Relax. I ordered it.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Madonna. You know that saying?
That's what I do.
So in Italian, when we're a little frustrated, we say Madonna. What do you say in Hebrew?
I don't know. When I do it, I don't use Hebrew.
Okay. Use English?
Sometimes. Sometimes I use Yiddish. Sometimes I just throw up my hands and walk away shaking my head.
Here's a question for you. I remember getting only polio sugar cube number 1, so I just got IPV. Should I do a primary series or wait 6 months and get a second shot since I'm an old geezer? What do you think, Amy? Should he get 2 or 3 shots?
He probably doesn't even need a booster in 6 months. He's probably fine with whatever OPV he got, and then the new IPV. He's fine.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I want to, here we go, BA. Yeah, it's 4.6. That's right. I misspoke. Okay. Why bivalent booster and not monovalent BA1? Because BA1 is displaced by 4 or 5. So, which will soon be displaced by something else. So it's like chasing, what would the analogy be, Amy? Chasing what?
It's the cheater hypothesis.
Oh, yeah? You know about that?
It's the cheater hypothesis. You're always one step behind.
Is that like me trying to keep up with you with your knowledge?
Yes.
Notice how kind I am to you.
Kind? Or just truthful?
No, I'm kind. 'Cause you don't know everything more than me. There's some things I know, like how many books are on my shelf.
Like how to put my furniture box together?
You don't know how many books are on my shelf.
No, I do not. But you don't know how many books are in my house either.
I have no idea. Paul writes, if measles were spreading at levels that SARS-2 is now, would we see as many vaccinated people getting sick with breakthrough infections and showing symptoms? There have been some studies done, actually, where they look in highly vaccinated measles populations, and you do get some infections. And some of them are actually symptomatic. So you don't have to have as much infection as we see now with SARS-CoV-2. But yes, we do see that because vaccines don't prevent infection, right? They prevent disease.
Yes. 'Cause 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 'c
Last week, Vincent said 2 weeks for Paul Offit. Yes, right. And now it's 1 week. Talk to Paul Offit about virus eradication. He believes it needs a long incubation period so T cells, etc., can activate before disease.
I don't know what virus he talked about. He talked to Paul Offit about eradication, but nonetheless, this is the wrong answer.
I'm going to write it down in my little book here. So I got two things. I got debunk the funk and Offit on eradication. So, it's not in my little field notes.
That's great, but it's still wrong.
The incubation period doesn't matter for eradication, right?
Right. It's still wrong. And I don't know what virus he's talking about.
I'll ask him. Yeah, Angus.
Hopefully
Shanghai.
he'll take it back and he'll say he was misunderstood or he misspoke.
Okay, I'll ask
Hopefully
him.
he's smarter than what that response means.
Well, when it goes through several people, it could be, warped.
It's the game of telephone. I understand. I played as a kid.
Yeah, it's a funny game, isn't it? Now, Angus is in Shanghai. It's a long ways from here. And I was wondering, Angus, what's the situation in Shanghai with respect to SARS-CoV-2? Do you have any idea how many cases? Is there a lockdown? Let us know.
Actually, just write to Vincent. I'm not that interested.
You could tell us right here on the stream.
Sure.
But be our correspondent from Shanghai, okay? Now, Ayush would love to work under you, and it is Dr. Rosenfeld. You should address Dr. Rosenfeld. Unfortunately, I'm far from a bachelor's. I haven't graduated high school. That's great.
Cute. Well, I'll still be here.
Apparently, Amy's going to be there for like 50 years.
Apparently so, which is fine with me.
You're going to miss me one day.
Who are you again?
Yeah.
There's this echo in my ears from some random sound. I don't know what that is.
Not too early to smash the like button. Yes, please hit the like, because when the algorithmic YouTube robot sees that, then other people get notified. They go, hey, there's a hot live stream going on here. Check it out. And then, of course, that makes the moderators have to work hard because you get a lot of unsavory types, right?
Look, Jen is here. Wow, Jen is finally back at the live stream. She must have left work or school early.
Yeah.
It's good. I haven't seen Kip and Laura yet, though.
Polio Pete. I haven't seen you for a while.
He was here last week.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay. The original mRNA vaccines have been fully approved, so why would the bivalent launch with only an EUA?
It's a different vaccine.
Yeah, so my contact at the FDA says because it's a different vaccine.
Well, let me know what your contact at the FDA has to say.
You're the contact. I now have a contact at the FDA. Although, your guy Kostya, I knew him for many years.
You need to contact him at the for his TWIV in December.
All right, let me write
He's
that
not
on my pad.
available. He's not available in November because he's going on a cruise. He's in hot water with his spouse if he doesn't go, apparently.
So December?
That's what I gathered, is that if he doesn't go, he's going to be in hot water. Not so good.
TWIP, This Week in Public Health. I don't know if it's going to be
Public
this
Health
week.
with Laura and Garrett.
Yeah, I kind of like. Yeah, Public Health with Lori Garrett. Is it live? No, Lori Garrett. It won't be live. No. We try and give you good content and deep content that not everyone will give you.
She has a lot to say.
Extremely. She sent me 3 pages of notes today. It's great. She knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah, did she in her notes, she account for the fact that there's the monkeypox wastewater testing now?
I sent her that preprint. so we can talk about it, because they think that the amount of monkeypox DNA they're finding in the wastewater is more than the reported cases. What do you think about that?
Once again, I don't understand how you can correlate.
You don't know the math? You can't do the math?
I can do the math, but I think that there is a flaw in the theory.
Here's how it goes.
So
You take
one
the
genome,
average.
one read is per 100 reads is a person.
It's not reads, it's PCR. It's RNA titer.
It's DNA titer. So
For monkeypox, yeah.
a cycle threshold from a sample of. So how many cycles are they doing? Since it's DNA, it's 25 cycles.
You can calibrate it, right? You could do a calibration with a standard and say this amount of DNA, you can pick it up in X cycles, and then you can calibrate the
Well,
DNA
you could
per mil.
calibrate that for RT-PCR too.
Yeah, and so you could roughly estimate, but the problem is that it doesn't take into account defective DNA, right?
Well, it doesn't take into account defective particles, and I'm not clear that you can say that there's X amount of virus shed by each person.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing.
So I don't understand. So whether or not I can do math is irrelevant. The thingy is flawed.
So one of the things Lori wants to talk about is how sequencing went from really expensive Illumina to really cheap, those little cartridges, Minion, is that what they're called, Minions? Yeah. And that really expanded the ability to use it for like wastewater and whatever.
Yeah, it's true, but Illumina is pretty cheap too.
Yeah, but the machine is expensive, right?
Well, the machine is, those little thingies are not they don't address the same questions. They don't have the flexibility of an Illumina sequencer.
Sure.
An Illumina sequencer does copy number, it does actual SNPs and various other things. This is just, can you amplify a piece of DNA? Right? It doesn't make a difference how many mistakes it makes. If you're sequencing someone's genome to find the SNP that caused the disease, you kind of care how many mistakes you make.
Yeah, if you're looking for SNPs. But if you're just looking for bulk RNA or DNA, it probably doesn't matter, right?
Well, it doesn't matter whatsoever. That's why you can use PCR.
Yeah. Anyway, I want the Lori Garrett show to do well, to convince her that it can work. If it doesn't do well, she's not going to do anymore. So please listen, at least download it.
Well, what does she consider? What does she consider do well? How many downloads did? Well, that's not a good metric. The I don't know metric.
I have to talk about it with her. We'll have a discussion. We have good chats. She likes chatting with me, so it's a good sign. Because we chatted for 2 hours last week, and she said, you and I have good chats. We should do a podcast. Okay, that's a good idea.
The truth of the matter is like, you have to have some kind of reality check and reasonable thing. You can't get 1 million downloads tomorrow. Like, that's just not going to happen. Right?
No,
but you
unless you're Z-Dog or
no,
Lex
even when
Friedman
he started. No, even when they started, they got like 400 downloads. They had to build up a following.
All right. I'll try and be persuasive. Should I put her on the horn with you?
Why me?
She can be persuasive.
I'm busy tomorrow. My lab is busy tomorrow. And then I have science day at Sieber. And then I have science day at Sieber on Friday. And I have ice cream social. And then I have meeting with the division director.
Good. The division director is important.
Yes, more important, ice cream social. Maybe they'll be serving booze.
Wait, they don't serve booze on government places?
No, they have ice cream social.
So FDA's having an ice cream social?
Yeah.
What kind of ice cream?
I don't know.
That's very
Hope-
funny. All grown people
Hopefully,
need an ice cream social, huh?
hey,
I got a reaction. That's great.
you always need an ice cream social.
Oh, that's
Even if
cool.
it's just vanilla, you always need an ice cream
Do
social.
you? I didn't know you liked ice cream.
Well, it gives me diarrhea because I'm allergic to the protein and the lactose. So I do like ice cream, but I don't really eat it anymore. I
Could eat
try
some
not
of
to have
these.
chronic.
You can have
No,
the
it
ice
tastes
pop.
yucky.
Ice pops are very good these days. Don't make faces.
It's not the same.
Luther says if negative strand RNA viruses carry their RNA-dependent RNA polymerase for replication, because this RNA cannot be read as mRNA, how has this occurred for the first time? What a great question. I know the answer. The idea is that negative strand viruses evolved from double-stranded RNA viruses, because double-stranded RNA viruses have a plus and a minus strand, and it's somehow a negative strand peeled off, and apparently the double-stranded RNA polymerase worked in those early negative strand genomes. So that's how that could happen, right? It's a good question. Well, people seem to be liking the public health. Okay, good. Polio Pete says, is the bivalent just as safe as the original formulation?
Yes.
So I will respect Dr. Rosenfeld's comment there. However, you have to understand it wasn't tested as much as the original was. So, and this is what Paul Offit said, we never expected the original to be associated with rare myocarditis. He says, who knows what this would be? We didn't see that until many, many doses were given. And so it's possible that when we give many, many doses.
So are you going to know?
I'm just saying, I agree.
Well, wait a minute. I want to know. So when people say, should I get vaccinated? You and Daniel always say, oh, it's safe and you should get vaccinated. So are you walking that back now?
No, I'm not walking it back. I'm just being critical.
What was the point of this? What was the point of this?
It's not been tested as extensively, so you can't say it's as safe as the original. It's safe in the safety
studies. It is as
studies.
safe as the original at the time that the original was released, right?
That's a good way to put it. I agree with you.
What
so
you
please
want to say,
take back your anger.
I'm not taking it back because you guys you confuse the issue. You use the wrong things as comparisons all the time. It's really kind of annoying.
Boy, ever since you went to the FDA, you've gotten even more pedantic. You know that?
Do not call me pedantic.
Why?
Do you want me to continue?
No, I won't call you pedantic, but I thought it was a joke. My gosh. Okay.
I am not the pedantic one. That is somebody else who's not half as smart.
Surely I'm not the only one who listens to everything tweet. Now, a number of people do, Martha. And we appreciate each and every
MK.
one of you. Okay, I know her name is Martha.
Oh, really? Martha. Her name is Martha?
Yeah, she sends guesses into TWIP. I know.
Oh.
I'm beginning to recognize people after 2.5 years of all this. Can you explain chickenpox versus shingles? Once you've had CPOX, your immune system won't let you get it again, but then it's latent. So how does the immune system fight off outside pox but allow latent shingles? Oh, a good question. Do you know the answer, Dr. Rosenfeld?
So you get infected with VZV and it forms a POC, and then it enters your cell and it goes latent, and then shingles comes when it reactivates and goes down the cell to your skin and forms a shingle. So the immune system never sees it once it goes into the cell and becomes latent because it's hidden. And then it goes down and it forms a shingle, like shingles. And still it's hidden from the immune system because it's inside the cell.
That's good. Very good. By the time it reactivates, there's also some immune antagonism. It's too late to stop it from making a rash. Yeah. Very good. What about Principles of Virology? It covers in detail several different groups. You've probably heard of it. I think I have a copy here. It's not really, it only covers 5 or 6 different viruses as models. And this virus course that I want to teach is going to be covering a lot of different viruses. So there is a book, Fields Virology, but it's way too expensive to have anyone buy. Even though Amy and I have a chapter in it.
That version is only like $50 now.
Our version?
Yeah, I never even saw any money from the royalties from it, but who cares?
I don't think I got any money. I wanted to show people this book. This is a really cool book. They sent me this years ago. This is, if you have some money, you should get it. Right, Life in Our Phage World, a field guide to the Earth's most diverse inhabitants. This is so cool. It's a field guide. You know what a field guide is? They have pictures and descriptions, and this is all drawn by hand. This is so cool. Look at that.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's like Cahal and his neurons.
So, Forest Rower. Okay?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Like,
I think it's...
he just died like a year ago.
No, the lady died. Mary Ewell died. Forrest didn't die. He was on TWIV.
Wow.
He's a very interesting fellow. Very interesting fellow. Okay. I just saw the book on the shelf. That's why I picked it up. Joshua, thank you for your contribution. Really appreciate your support of the best science programs on the internet. I mean, there are little ones here and there that are good, but nobody does everything like we do. Greg says people who had Omicron in the last 90 days, is bivalent worth it to get BA4 protection? I know we don't know. Waiting for science. Curious if shot could make sense. Infection still a booster.
Infection still a booster. Don't need it.
Yeah, you don't need it. Which tissues mRNA expression found other than muscle? They're talking about the mRNA vaccine, right? So you inject it in the muscles. Where else are you going to find it in the body, Amy?
In the lymph, probably in the liver. All the clearance organs.
Yeah, you might find it in a lot of places depending on the sensitivity, but it would be a really small amount.
And so what's the point? So it's going to make some protein, and then what's going to happen?
No, there's no point at all. It's meaningless. Doesn't harm anything. Debunk the Funk is a podcast, yes, where they debunk garbage, and they often talk about TWIV. And so I will have the guy on. I wrote it down on my little book here. Love that T-shirt, Amy.
Oh, thank you.
This has got a Right Amy T-shirt designed by Vanity Nutrition.
Yeah, it's the Right Amy T-shirt.
When I had COVID, I would have chills, then get really hot, then freezing, then very hot, on and off. How does it mess with my body's thermostat?
It's the immune response. It causes a fever, and then you get chills.
Yeah, there are
From the
cytokines
sweat
that are causing fever. What do you call? What's the word for causing a fever? Pyrogenic, right?
I think so.
Yeah, a lot of these cytokines are pyrogenic, and they're made in bursts. That's why it happens. These notebooks do make a hole in your pocket. Yeah, it's too big for my shirt pocket. It may have to go in the pants pocket. We'll see. I could put it in my backpack. I guess that would work. I have my backpack with me all the time. If someone tests positive right away on a rapid test, are they contagious?
I don't know what right away
means. I don't know what that means. Not necessarily, no. No, it doesn't. Just because you're antigen positive doesn't mean you're contagious, no. Where to find the best pictures on the internet of viruses? I will show you the website. It's really good. I'm gonna type it in here. Viral Zone. This is so cool. All right, let's turn on the screen share here. So Viral Zone, okay. It's viralzone.expacy.org. And then you can go Yeah, all these resources here. You can go by DNA, by RNA, by strandedness. So let's take a trip to the plus-stranded RNA viruses, and you pick out picornaviridae, and there you go. Cool pictures of
Because
viruses.
they're the best.
They're the best viruses. So that's one. Then the
They're
other
the
is,
best.
what is the DB Scripps website?
Is that for Good Cell?
No, it's the one where they have actual three-dimensional images of viruses. What is it? Viper. Yeah, there it is. viperdb.scripps.edu. Yeah. Here you can get the actual three-dimensional structures. But what Amy just said, I'm going to find also. Hey, come on. Let's go. Where's the scripts? Why am I not seeing anything? ViperDB. Let's get rid of the website and just do a search. Here we go. Yeah, Virus Particle Explorer Database. Please follow the link below, which I did and it didn't work. Okay, forget about that. David Goodsell. Goodsell homepage. Now, David does all kinds of images, including viruses. Like, these are hand-drawn. These are gorgeous, right? He's on the cover.
Yeah, I mean, he's
things.
done some. I think polio's there, rhino,
Yeah.
HIV.
I invited him to Twiv, but he said, no, I'm too shy. Didn't want to do it.
Well, look it up.
Look what up? Let's look
The
at
molecule of the month. I
let's do
believe there's
rhinovirus.
polio.
Let's search for rhinovirus. Oops, we couldn't find what you're looking for. Give me a break.
Try polio.
Polio?
Yeah, I know he's done polio.
Nah, that's not right. Anyway, those places are good. Okay. Those are places to get good virus pictures. Now, here's a question for Amy. Why does the body have no appetite when sick for the most part? I had no appetite at all when sick, even when trying to eat some vegetables to help my illness.
Cytokines.
Again, the cytokines produced during inflammation interfere with your appetite. There are specific pathways for appetite induction and suppression that are well known, and the cytokines interfere with that.
Mm-hmm.
Powell wants to know, I got a positive test result today. I've been 3 times vaxxed, but suffering with bad body aches and fever. 34-year-old male. Should I take Paxlovid just in case?
Talk to your doctor. You should. You could.
Yeah, but he's not in the age group.
Doesn't matter.
Paxlovid.
Doesn't matter. They'll
Just
still get a
saying.
prescription.
It wouldn't hurt. I know someone who is less than 34 in your situation who got it and felt better immediately. So if you don't want to suffer with body aches and fever, sure. But hurry up. Okay. So I asked people what they're afraid of. So here are some answers. I am afraid of Nipah virus. Well, unless you're in Bangladesh or parts of India and you're going to mess with bats, you shouldn't be, because but I understand. You think it might spread to the rest of the world. Richard fears no viruses now. That's great. Liz fears shingles. Get a shingles vaccine. Gwen is still afraid of COVID. Okay, a lot of people are. Barb Mack is good right now, would be terrified of Ebola and pretty scared of smallpox, though. If they spread, it would be scary. Yeah, but there's an Ebola vaccine, so I don't know if we have enough of it, though, Amy, to vaccinate a lot of people, right?
Probably not. Not sure how good it is anyway.
Lee says only fear now is long COVID. Okay. A lot of people tell me they're afraid of long COVID. Yep. And then Ted says, do we know enough about SARS-CoV-2 to inform whether it may become a persistent virus?
What is a persistent virus? Like it causes a persistent infection, or it's endemic?
Causes a persistent infection.
No, it's not going to cause a persistent infection. For like 99.9% of the world, no.
Do we actually have pictures of viruses or visual representation? We have both. We have electron micrographs, which are pictures.
Or cryo-EM.
Cryo-EM, yeah. James Madison, who I thought had died years ago. We don't
Well, I
have
guess he's back.
we don't have anything to fear but fear itself. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Alexander, not too afraid in general, but probably monkeypox. Can be nasty.
Yes.
I'm afraid of my wife getting sick while pregnant. Yep, that's not good. Pregnancy is a form of immunosuppression, correct, Amy?
I guess so.
In New Zealand, there's no virus that scares me, but if global warming continues, then dengue and others will be a big worry. Yeah.
I don't think we should use the word global warming, isn't climate change?
Yeah, that's what you should say, but yeah, it is getting warmer, isn't it?
I think that's only part of it.
I'm afraid of new COVID variants that will put us back to where we were in early 2020. Well, I don't think so because we have vaccines. And in early 2020, we had no vaccines. And so no variant is going to completely escape the protection against death and severe disease. So I don't think you should.
Well, we also have antivirals that we didn't have in 2020.
That's right. Caroline is afraid of long COVID. Charlotte's afraid of pneumonia. Yeah.
Could understand that. It's not so much fun.
Elizabeth is afraid of Ebola and prions. Not afraid of others, but I don't want them. Yeah. That's what Daniel says. I don't want any kind of COVID. Yes, so BA.4/6 is resistant to Evusheld. That's the number I was looking for. And Jack says, the David Ho paper says bebtelovimab still works. Correct. So bebtelovimab is our last resort of monoclonals. Unfortunately, so Evusheld was good because you could give it to people before they got infected and it would protect them for several months. Then you could get multiple infusions, right? So as
any antibody should be able to do that.
Yeah, but this particular one was engineered to last longer, to have a longer half-life.
So you can engineer any monoclonal.
Yeah, but yeah, you could, but bebtelovimab is not engineered, so it has
then the company should just do it. It's not rocket science.
Well, why don't you send them an email? I agree with you.
I'm not sending them an email. I'm not getting involved. It's not my virus. It's not my project, but it's not rocket science.
Michael Miller, the president decreed the pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it, but the pandemic is over. Okay. Which, in other countries is not over, but a pandemic is supposed to be a global thing. So I don't know what he's thinking. I guess it's over globally. He's just told WHO it's over. By the way, Amy, does WHO...
When did he tell WHO this? It was on CBS 60 Minutes. He didn't go to the WHO. He's in New York complaining about Putin.
No, I was just saying he could tell WHO. I didn't say that he had.
Oh, sure. You can tell WHO whatever you want. Let me know how that works out for you.
Les says, afraid of bacterial resistance more than viruses. Yeah, antimicrobial resistance is a problem. Madeline says, I'm not too worried about COVID, monkeypox, or polio, but my cat hunts bats and brings them home. Rabies scares me. I didn't know cats hunted bats.
Maybe her cat is unique.
Yeah, well, not surprising, but yes, they could be rabid. You got to be careful. Maybe you should just get a rabies vaccine prophylactically, and then you'll be good, right?
Yeah.
Amy, Charlotte wants to know where she can hear Paul Offit on boosters.
TWIV in 10 days.
Yeah, but you said you heard him the other day. Where did
he
you
was
hear
at
him?
Yeah. So CBER had CBER Science Day, and he was the keynote speaker.
Yeah, so at Amy's workplace, so you can't see that. But he was on another podcast, right?
He's going to be on TWIV in 10 days.
Okay.
That is I don't understand what
Don't be impatient with me. We're having a kind and generous
I'm
live
not
stream.
impatient. I'm just flabbergasted at certain things. But okay, moving on.
I literally don't understand if it's worth getting a fourth shot. I'm too illiterate. Help. You're not illiterate. You just wrote a reasonable question. Just chill. Well, this is my take. If you are 75 or over, if you have serious illnesses of other kinds, you make poor immune responses. So you probably should get a fourth shot. But if you're healthy, you don't have to. That's my take on it.
That is true.
Doreen says, I used to be afraid of COVID. Doctors A&V and Dr. Griffin turned the COVID beast into an inconvenience. Polio, monkeypox not making my worry list thanks to Microbe TV. I love it. Very good, Doreen. I'm very happy that we're of use. I have to say, folks, that days go by where I think we're not helping anybody. And then I hear from some of you and it...
Days go by.
Amy, stop being difficult with me. Please, just deal with my worries.
Days go by.
What's wrong with days go by? What is wrong with it?
I just want to know when was it that days went by? Because it's like an hourly conversation that we have every hour. I don't think that this is working.
I see what you're saying.
Working. I want to know what day goes by when I'm not getting a text that says this is not working. What day? Let me know. I'm going to have it as a holiday.
All right, you shouldn't tell them everything.
I want it to be a holiday.
You shouldn't tell them everything, okay? Shouldn't tell them everything. Okay, I recall getting one polio sugar cube in 1961, which I thought was the vaccine. My understanding of CDC that without records, adults should get missed doses. Yeah, without records, get more IPV. Absolutely. Absolutely. I never tested positive for SARS-CoV-2. I got Moderna original 2-shot, no boosters. I don't worry about getting infected, but coronavirus being unpredictable is in the back of my mind. Well, that's good. I think that's a sanguine way to look at that, for sure. You've got a good balanced approach. Why does SARS-CoV-2 cause fatigue? When I had it, I would stand up and almost immediately need to lay back down. So again, the inflammation really is the problem. All these cytokines that are being produced. I don't know what the exact mechanism is, but they do induce the fatigue, the body aches, the muscle aches, the headaches, the whole body fatigue. It's all cytokine driven. Would you say that's accurate representation, Dr. Rosenfeld?
Yeah.
All right, so Stacy says, never got very sick with flu, never had a flu shot. I don't want to start now. What do you think? I'm 58.
Flu vaccine.
I get a flu vaccine every year. I rarely get flu. I haven't had flu in years. It might be because of the vaccine or it might be other reasons, but flu vaccine is not a problem. There are no side effects you get a sore arm, but I wouldn't take a chance, Stacy. I want to see you here on this live stream for a long time. You should get a flu shot. Amy, should I get a flu shot one of these days?
Yeah, for sure.
That means I have to go to I'm going to go to CBS. I don't want to go to CVS. I don't want to go to Columbia.
Yeah, I don't see why you can't go to CVS. Do they give stickers?
Oh, no, they don't. So I need a sticker for my ID. You're right. I have to go to Columbia. I usually, in the past years, I went with Amy to get flu shots. It was always fun because we would talk about people, right?
Yeah, it's always fun.
Do you get them at the FDA, flu shots?
Apparently. I haven't looked into it, but the woman who does my ordering came for the first time yesterday, and people were like, "This is so-and-so," and I was like, "Who is so-and-so?" I was like, they just said, it was like, "Here's Barbara." I was like, "Who is Barbara?"
She's the lady who orders for you, yeah?
Yeah, but that's not really her name. But she came because I don't know. She said she was getting a titer done. I didn't ask. And then she got her flu shot.
Gwen says, my husband got SARS-CoV early in 2020. I have watched decline, not the same man. That's why I'm afraid of it, though I may have been asymptomatic. I understand. Gwen. I think it's unfortunate, but I also think that there are secondary effects after many infections that are less obvious. But yes, I understand your fear. Rob says, how big a risk is imprinting with the new bivalent vaccine? I don't think it's a problem at all, right, Amy? It induces antibodies to both ancestral, because it's got ancestral in it, and BA.4/5, right?
Right.
After Babel says, right now, PASC, yeah, that's their worry, and long COVID, plus everything that's carried by mosquitoes. Well, here in the U.S., it depends where you live, of course. Here in the Northeast, we don't have yellow fever, we don't have dengue, we don't have chikungunya, we don't have Zika. We have
West Nile
virus.
and
West Nile. We have Eastern equine encephalitis virus. Yeah. But there are ways to prevent yourself from being bitten. Oh, so you know the funny thing is? So people say, wear clothing, wear long sleeve shirts, pants, right? So working in the garden, and my wife, a mosquito bites her through her blue jeans.
Through the blue jeans?
Yeah, because
or did it fly up her blue jeans?
No. She had slapped it, and it was dead on the outside, and you could see the blood seeping out through the blue jeans. Can you believe it?
Wow. He had a long proboscis.
I'm not afraid of any virus, but I have been quadruple vaxxed for COVID and might get the bivalent eventually. I've signed up for Lyme disease vaccine trials starting in October. Well, good.
Cool.
Get vaccinated. Cool. How much time does it take to make a monoclonal antibody?
In what? The lab?
Yes. Let's say in the lab. If I gave you an antigen on Monday, when could you hand me a monoclonal?
And unlimited resources.
Yes.
3.5 months.
That long?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you wanted to do scale up for production for using in people, it would take longer, right?
Well, first you have to put the gene in, then you have to put it in. Everybody, you have to find some CHO cells, and you have to do some standards and make sure it's pure and there's a lot more to the manufacturing part than the 3 months to make the antibody. I mean, it takes 3 months. So you give me the antigen. It's going to take 3 boosts, at least a minimum of 3 immunizations to that mouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you do an immunization minimally every 14 days, you should do it actually spaced out longer, like every 21 days. So that's every 3 weeks. That's 9 weeks right there. Then you harvest the spleen, you do some LibreSeq, blah, 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 some bioinformatics right there for 3 months.
Okay.
That's if everything goes according to plan.
Yeah, and it never does, right?
I'm still waiting for my plan to become, for me to say everything went according. I had a plan, it went pseudo according to plan.
I don't think anything in life goes exactly according to plan all the time. There are always bumps, but in general, you get where you want to go, right? So I have Microbe TV. It's going generally where I want it to go, but there are a lot of bumps in the road.
Yeah.
But I can't complain. I have a lovely studio where I can go and do science, and it's a lot of fun.
Great.
Hager is afraid of hantavirus, is cleaning out a shed afflicted with mouse activity. I like that saying, afflicted with mouse activity. Be careful. Just maybe you should wear a mask so you don't inhale any rodent excreta. Marco, I still have hand sanitizer in the car, wear an N95 indoors, just habit at this point. I vaguely remember a sugar cube, but need to discuss with my MD. I hope Paxlovid will still be effective. Paxlovid should be fine. If you can't remember getting a full course of polio vaccine, just get it. Meister is afraid of unnecessarily mandatory boosters being used to access services. What does the access services part mean, Amy? Do you understand that?
I don't know.
Clean with bleach also, yes. Bleach will inactivate any virus in rodent droppings. Kathleen wants to know, Amy, if you have any new fancy shoes to share with us. You look great tonight.
Oh, thank you. No fancy shoes. No new fancy shoes. Although we thought about new fancy shoes. Silver fancy shoes, or the silver loafers are the thing this season.
So Biden's press secretary gave a definition of pandemic.
Great. Somebody should send us the link to it. I'd love to see what it is.
Yeah. Yes, I'd be interested to see how they did.
I don't think that they're going to have passed the Amy test.
Oh, I see. I see what the mandatory services. Right. Boosters will be mandatory to access services. Not true, I wish, but no. Okay. They won't be. Charlotte says, I work face-to-face teaching college students. I'm 79 years. I got 3 boosters and 2 vaccines. I feel free of fear of COVID. Good, because I remember, Charlotte, at the beginning of this live stream, you were very afraid. So I'm glad your fears have been allayed.
Great.
Right?
Yeah, great. Excuse me.
Oh, look at Masa heard your talk at UMD on Monday.
That's great. I wish she'd come up to me and introduced herself.
Well, maybe was it on Zoom? Maybe she saw.
No, I went to UMD. I got a parking ticket because I apparently didn't do their parking system right, and I would like them to take it back because I attempted. I just obviously didn't do it right. And no, it was good. And the guy before me talked about how his mucosal vaccine is going to prevent transmission, which is not correct. So no vaccine we have ever developed can prevent transmission. So he was wrong and Pfizer is wrong.
Even if you had
it can
mucosal
reduce
immunity,
it. Right, it can reduce it.
Would reduce it, but then the antibody levels will decline eventually because they don't remain high, and then you will get transmission. Yeah.
Right, but his idea is to fuse spike to an FC receptor and use that as a vaccine, an intranasal vaccine.
It's not going to prevent transmission.
Even in his data that he showed, he had like 8 animals. He had 8 different cages of Syrian hamsters, or 16 cages, and you could see that like maybe 4 of them didn't have any of the target, didn't get any transmitted virus, didn't get infected, but 2 of them did. So it clearly, so he used the word that he blocked transmission, but he didn't. He just reduced it.
Yeah, people need to really.
He wasn't. Well, he also
properly.
he also went over for like 50 minutes. It should have been a 27-minute talk with 3 minutes for questions. Even though that they started late, he went over like, I don't know, like a good, I would say it ended up being a good 55 minutes.
Sorry, Amy.
Yeah, because nobody stayed on Zoom, I think, for my talk, which.
Well, maybe Masa saw it on Zoom.
I think she looks familiar. She might have been in the audience with George. I mean, I met George's graduate student, Sam, and I met the new faculty guy at the vet department, who is from Jeffrey Tauenberger, whatever the guy at Flu who you're going to talk to in October at the NIH. Yeah, he's from his lab.
What is the thinking about getting 2 vaccine shots on the same day? It is no problem for me to go twice to the pharmacy. Why is it better to go twice? It depends what the vaccine. If it's 2 different vaccines, I don't think that's an issue, right? Daniel says you can get them at the same time.
Yeah, it's not an issue. You know, the other thing that Offit talked about, you should talk to him about is, so apparently Yadel has some theory about how you should have, whether or not you should have the COVID vaccines in 2 different arms. Like if it should have been monovalent and given in 2 different arms, like for competing germinal centers. It's like I never. Yeah, you should talk to him about it.
Okay, will do. Whenever I hear
I don't
people,
see you writing it down.
okay, Udell,
Yeah,
2 arms. Well, you know that was Gabriel Victora, and he talked about that on Immune. I can't remember what he said.
Yeah, but like
Okay.
Daniel was like, no, probably not. Probably doesn't make a difference. But there was something very specific. I forgot what it was.
Whenever I hear people talk about smallpox, they claim there are no asymptomatic infections. How could it be possible to know that with certainty, given when the virus was last spreading? I think there probably
You wouldn't have been able to eradicate it if there were asymptomatic infections.
Yeah, so if there were a lot of asymptomatic infections, Amy's right, you wouldn't be able to eradicate it. There could be some that are, just a handful. I mean, I don't think it's 0 for any virus, right? That doesn't make sense, but not enough to make a difference. Oh, here's Animal Party. Hello, Animal Party. Good to see you again. I also recall getting only 1 polio sugar cube. My PCP offered a titer test. No titer tests.
Why would you do a titer test? It's not going to tell you anything.
Not going to tell you anything. Just get another vaccination. Yeah. No titers. Make a T-shirt. No titers.
Okay. I can make a T-shirt.
So many good T-shirts. I could wear a T-shirt every day the rest of my life and still have T-shirts. Is IPV included in DTaP?
Yes.
Yes. It is. But you can get IPV separately, right, Amy?
Yes.
Amy is the vaccine person now that she's at the FDA.
I'm not the vaccine person.
I think
I am a polio person.
You are my trainee, and I can call you whatever I want, as long as it's flattering.
Okay. Call me whatever you want. I am the polio person.
Miter is afraid of influenza mainly, but reinfection with COVID-2 recently was a major pain. Will boost and start to mask in crowded places during the winter. Okay. I'm just curious of what
Look, his little cat. Is that a camel or a horse?
It's
got
like
a mask on. Oh, it's a cow?
It's a cow. How now, brown cow?
I don't know, but is it wearing a mask? It looks like it's wearing a mask.
Yeah, it looks like it's wearing, but it's got its nostrils sticking out, so it's not really working.
Well, maybe it was eating.
I know some cows, they put the bag on their mouth, or horses, they put a bag on to feed them, right? Horse people. Now, Salty Cat wants to know, what's infection versus disease? What would be a disease result from COVID, i.e. pneumonia? So SARS-CoV-2 is the virus that could infect you, and you could get infected and not have any disease, no symptoms, or you could get an upper respiratory tract, a common cold, or you could get pneumonia. Yeah, that would be the disease caused by SARS-CoV-2. Fair enough, Amy?
Yes, good.
Is the incubator still going? I'm not sure I understand it. The open house is off for the 29th of September. It's been canceled. But the incubator itself is still going. Yes, I go there every day. We have a 5-year lease, so I'm going to be going there for 4 more years at least, and then we'll decide what to do.
Why? Are you going to retire in 5 years?
I'm not going to retire ever. I'm going to keep teaching until I can't talk anymore. Could be a time, but I have a feeling I'm going to be able to talk a long time.
Me too.
Yeah, you like to talk.
I don't like to talk. I just have a feeling that you're going to be talking for a long time.
Any news about the new OPV which supposedly doesn't revert? Dr. Rosenfeld.
Yes.
Tell us about this. You know all about NOPV too.
So it doesn't revert. So that's not exactly correct. He has to define what revert means.
Become more neurovirulent.
Is that what revert means?
I'm just putting words in his mouth.
I don't know what revert means. It has a 35,000-fold reduced amount of paralytic disease associated with it compared to Sapin 2. Yeah, it's hard to produce.
It's hard to grow?
Yeah.
Why?
It's very hard to grow.
Low
It
yield?
doesn't grow very efficiently. And Janelle Roth at the CDC has come out and said that we are not at the point where we need to disperse it.
Where, in the U.S.?
Well, she speaks for the U.S. CDC, but she also was in Africa in response to the 6 cases of wild type 1. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ian says, why does Bordetella pertussis whooping cause vaccine a bacterial contract? I don't understand. I'm sorry. Do you understand?
No.
Is screening for polio immunity prohibitively expensive? My provider will neither cover the test nor approve a vaccine for me. Well, that's not good. They should approve a vaccine. The test is not informative because you don't know what the results mean. But you should be vaccinated. I don't see why they're not approving it.
Because they probably feel it's a childhood disease and he's probably beyond childhood. It's a bad policy. It's not well thought out.
No. It's not prohibitively expensive, no, but it's not informative.
There's no point to it. It's a waste of time and money and reagents.
Minion does copy number 2, I thought. Does Minion do copy number? I don't know. Never used it. Have you ever used Minion? You're an Illumina gal, aren't you?
Yes, I am an Illumina gal.
Not only is she a technical girl, but she's an Illumina girl. Material girl, Illumina girl.
That is true.
A couple of people are suggesting this week in epidemiology.
I don't know that Laurie Garrett considers herself an epidemiologist versus a public health spokesperson. I think they're different.
Minion nanopore sequencing, that's right. Hello, Elise. I was lost in the worlds of SDNY and Judge Deary. I have no idea what any of that is. Do you, Dr. Rosenfeld? Oh. Hey, Enrico, how are you? Thank you. I'm glad you like my glasses. It's been a while since we have seen you. Hope everything is well in Brazil. Maybe I'll get there one day again. I've been there twice. It's cool. Richard said, I hope they have rum raisin at the ice cream social. Do you have a choice?
I don't know. I was being facetious. I don't know.
They have all kinds of ice cream and toppings at a social. Well, that's cool. Very good. Does an anti-inflammatory drug such as Mobic Motrin negatively affect the immune process when taken before the booster? Gosh, this is an old question from years ago, remember? Mm-hmm. I think Daniel said it doesn't really hurt. to take these anti-inflammatories.
No, it doesn't.
Thoughts on Dr. Campbell on YouTube? I'm not a fan, and I have never been a fan, and that's all I'm going to say. I like this one. I don't want to speak for Vincent, but I get the impression he's not big on statistics. He's an empirical guy. Did you know? What do you think, Amy? Am I an empirical guy?
Of course. You're an experimentalist.
Yeah. I don't like experiments that you need statistics to figure out what the answer is. That's good, right?
It's good.
All right, so a report from Shanghai, no lockdown, and there's been less than 70 cases daily for the last month, so about 40 asymptomatic Omicron, according to official data. But you have to be PCR negative for 72 hours to go outdoors. Wow, that's interesting. Thank you, Angus. Appreciate the update. Which is better, NOPV2 or NOPV-CD? Yeah, so there were two versions. Is that correct?
So there were two ideas. One was to use Kara Burns' codon deoptimized genome as a vaccine, and the other one was to do what Raoul and Andy did, where they made alterations within the polymerase and they moved the Cree and they made two alterations in domain 5 so it couldn't revert. The deoptimized did not give the same immune response as Sabin2, and NOPV2 by Andy and Raoul gave a more similar immune response.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. So NOPV2 is what's being used currently, right?
Yes. The codon deoptimized version is no longer being pursued, as far as I know.
And the more I learn, the less I know. Absolutely. Because the more you learn, the more you realize what you don't know, right? Perfectly acceptable, and I feel the same way. Here's another one for Amy. In terms of safety and efficacy, is an EUA substantially different from a fully approved license? Why were folks frequently using the EUA argument against the vax? A red herring?
Yes.
Is it substantially different?
I don't think so.
My understanding is that an EUA you give because there's an emergency situation and you need to get the drug or the vaccine out there, but you don't have the complete set of data yet, or it's not yet been evaluated because it takes some time to get full licensure. And so eventually
it depends, I guess. I don't know.
That's my feeling. This is interesting. Any virus that makes me no longer feel like myself, healthy, energetic, or removes one of my natural biological abilities is what I fear. That's a good one. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Antigen test is not supposed to be quantitative, but it seems to be. Test line can be faint or way positive as soon as the paper is wet. Yeah, but I wouldn't put much faith in that being quantitative at all. It's not meant to be, and I doubt it is.
Of course it's not.
Give us the link to purchase the phage book. Okay, I'm going to give you the link. Let's see. What is it called? Life in the Phage World. Life in the Phage. Well, where do you want to buy it from? Amazon? Here. Oh, maybe that was the publisher. Let's take a look at that. Coral and Phage. That's just a picture of the cover. Okay, let me give you the Amazon link. There you go. Life in Our Phage World by Forrest Rower. And so this is Amazon, right? But you can also search for this elsewhere. Life in Our Phage World by Forrest Rower. All right. Yeah, it's a great book. I really enjoy it. And then Eureka, since you're my good friend, I will let you do 1, 2, 3 of the same comment and not yell at you because you're my friend. But you only need to do 1. Is this true? Amy Cahal would have been nowhere without Golgi?
Yeah, pretty much.
Amy, what is
Golgi
it?
was his mentor.
What's the opposite of loquacious?
Laconic.
You can be laconic,
I just was told I talk too much.
Who told you talk too much? No way.
You just
No, I want you to talk
finished
a lot.
5 minutes ago saying you talked. Okay.
No. Talk all you want. Vincent plays the piano. Look behind him. Isn't there a piano? No, there's no piano behind me. There's no piano. Do you see a piano, Amy?
No, it was
It's
a
a
guitar.
fireplace. There's a guitar
Where's
here,
the
but
guitar?
I haven't played it in years because I'm teaching the world microbiology, actually virology. Leo doesn't have a question, just wanted to show support. Thank you, Leo. We always appreciate your support. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Zizva303, for your support of science education at the incubator. My daughter does play the piano, but it's not here. It's upstairs, and you can't see it behind me. In Virology Live, flush toilets were mentioned. Are you pro-anti-bidet seats? Does the increased cleanliness outweigh the possibility of aerosolizing enteric viruses? I'd never thought of that. I mean, I don't have a bidet seat in my house. I mean, when I went to Japan a couple of years ago, they had them, and they're quite interesting, right? But am I pro or anti-bidet seats because they aerosolize? Well, if you're aerosolizing your own intestinal contents, I don't think it's a problem. If the next person comes in and inhales it, it could be a problem, right? But if you're in a hotel room, that's not happening for a while, so I don't think it's a problem. So I don't see a danger in bidet seats. And they're not going to be in public bathrooms, right? Because they're too expensive, so I don't think it's an issue. Can treat at prodrome, and if early enough, no rash. My experience, zoster IgM positive seem to prove this. Prodrome is before the rash. Treat with what? Antiviral? That would make sense. Vincent's daughter would play the piano a long time ago at the start of the show. Yeah, she did play it once when it was raining, and some people thought it was cool to have the piano in the background. And then I recorded it, and it's here somewhere, but I don't play it anymore. Where is that? Sound effects. Let's
We don't
see.
need any we need no sound effects.
I don't have
Thank
it here
you.
anymore. It's gone. Sorry, Amy. I'm sorry you don't like piano playing.
I do like piano playing.
How long till we know if the bivalent vaccine will help against BA4.6? Well, they have to collect data. The problem is they won't do it right. They're going to collect data on hospitalization, and that's not what I'm interested in. I want to know severe disease and death. And it would take some months, 6 months maybe, to collect those data. But it's not going to be right. Thank you, Rico, for your contribution. In Brazil, we cannot write super chats in U.S. dollars, but here we are, Brazilians for viruses. Thank you, Eurico. I forgot how to pronounce your name. Eurico, right? Eurico. I think it's Eurico. But I could be wrong. Old school, thank you for your contribution to science communication. Mucus flowing into the stomach makes us nauseous. Yuck. It's just body stuff, Patricia, and I'm not sure there's any yuck factor. Had SARS-CoV-2 infection August 28th. Notice that Ron says I had a SARS-CoV-2 infection, which is pedantically correct. He doesn't say I had COVID or I tested positive for COVID. That's not correct. No symptoms except the worst sore throat of my lifetime. I've heard that, yes. I've heard that. Doreen fears every night except Wednesdays. Ha ha. You think that's good, Amy?
I think that's funny.
I'm afraid of infectious diseases arising from the massive flooding in Pakistan. Yeah, Aidan O'Leary said a third of Pakistan was underwater in August. Aidan O'Leary is the guy from WHO.
Yeah, I know who Aidan is. It's not good.
And Ron says rapid antigen tests were my main tool. Good. Liz says I did get the shingles vax because I don't want it. Yeah, it's good. All right, 3 weeks of COVID, 17-year-old son and I not done recovering, yes, vaccinated, but you're alive, you didn't go in the hospital, right? That's what we have. That's what the vaccines do, and for the foreseeable future, they're not going to be any different. Environmental is afraid of tornadoes hitting my property again. We had a tornado once here in New Jersey many years ago, but only once. Okay, here's another good question from How Now Brown Cow. If the latent virus is hidden in the cell from the immune system, how does Shingrix work? Well, you have memory to the virus, which as soon as that virus begins to reactivate, kicks in very quickly and prevents the rash from forming. And it does that quicker than natural immunity.
And how is it seeing the reactivation? So there must be viral proteins that eventually make it to the surface of the cell.
Yeah, and they're recognized by T cells. Yep, absolutely right. Principal says, I hope public health with Lori Garrett is not totally contingent on viewership numbers. The discussion is too important. I had a long chat with Lori about it, and she doesn't think it would succeed, but I think it will. So if you watch it and you like it, make comments. I think she would like to see comments, positive comments, right?
I think she would like positive email at lori.microbe.tv. I'm serious.
Okay, Lori at microbe.tv. Do I have to make that email?
Yeah.
Okay, I better do it because
that's where she should get all of her email.
Microbe. I'm writing it in my book.
Beginning on day 1.
I wrote it in my book.
If you have a question for Lori Garrett, you contact her at lori.ed. Yeah. It's good. I see. It's good.
Vincent, we are finding Sabin poliovirus persisting in tissues from children here. What do you think of that? Hey, Rico, I need more information. Did these kids get vaccinated? How long before did they get vaccinated? Is it infectious virus or PCR positivity? Need more data. Any other questions, Amy?
No, because it's not going to be good. Okay, move on.
3D molecular designs. Yeah, that's a company. Influenza virus capsid model. They also have coronavirus. Capsid is probably a spell check error. Did Daniel ever get COVID? Not to my knowledge. No. She's never gotten COVID. Neither has Amy.
No.
Neither have I. But we all could have been infected with SARS-CoV-2 because I've never had an antibody test.
No, an antigen test. You need to have, yeah, sure. You need to know if you have antibodies against NP.
Yeah. Patricia's afraid that I'm always going to have to mask at work. If you're a healthcare worker, right? Yeah. I don't think you're always going to have to. At some point, you won't have to. At some point, you will not have to. I know this. Yeah. Tom says global warming was the foundational term. I remember those early days well. In fact, climate change, accurate term, was introduced to soft pedal it and get around political censorship. I think that's correct. Yeah. Rabies and Marburg is what Luis is afraid of. Yeah, they're pretty scary. Oh, Yuriko, thank you for your contribution. Amy, you are such a funny person. She is pretty funny.
I can be, yes.
But if she's not happy, she's not so funny.
That is true.
Try carrying a mini moleskin. Isn't this a mini moleskin? No, this is Field Notes. This is different, right?
I don't know.
Is a moleskin smaller than this?
I don't know.
But moleskins are terribly expensive. Terribly, terribly expensive. And I would never spend your donations on a moleskin. But if they're small, I'll check it out. I mean, I have these things. Where is it? I have this thing, which is even smaller, but
no, that's not smaller. That's
thick,
bigger.
and it's got these. This is not a good pocket thing, but it has a cute cow on the cover, don't you think?
Very cute.
And it's got lined paper, but the other one is a little smaller. Yeah. See, I have notes in here.
Yeah, it says Bella.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
It says hello. All right. What else do we have here? What else do we have here? If older folks have weaker T-cell responses to coronavirus because exposure to vaccine or infection happened late in life, good so far, then are these folks in greater need of boosters? Well, the boosters don't generate innate responses, right? So the problem is that
they can.
But they're transient, right?
Well, all innate responses are transient.
So
but they do in part. That's the whole part of OPV being a booster.
For transient, a couple of months, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you age, you don't have enough T cells and you can't make good T cell or B cell responses because the antibody production is mainly B cell dependent, T cell dependent, sorry. So, yeah, that's why older people have issues. They get vaccinated if they're 75 or over, and then they can still get very sick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, Amy thinks you're funny, but he already said that, right?
Yeah.
Amy, loving your snark tonight.
I wasn't snarky.
Amy, what an accent. How would you characterize your accent, Amy?
I don't know. It's like yours.
I think it's even more intense.
What?
Your accent. He likes it, though. He said, I like Amy's accent. Little A. I like the little AMY. What do you think?
Yeah, but how is it? You think it's more intense than yours?
Yeah.
How could it be more intense than yours? I've lived less time in the Northeast than you did.
I can't explain it. I'm out of my lane,
Okay.
Amy.
Okay.
What causes SARS-CoV-2 nucleocapsid uncoating after the membrane fusion within the host cell plasma membrane? I'm not sure that nucleocapsid leaves. So for it to be copied, it probably doesn't leave. But what about to get translation of the first open reading frame, Amy, on the genome, right, the 1A, 1B? Do you think the nucleocapsid protein has to come off?
Yeah. Otherwise, the ribosome is not sitting on the RNA. But the ribosome may have enough force to push it off.
Yes, I was just going to say maybe the ribosomes can push it off. Yeah, very good. Oh, this is a good one, Vincent. Virus fear, back off, man. I listen to Twiv. That's it. I need a T-shirt. I'm writing it down. Do you know what that's from, Amy?
No.
From Ghostbusters.
I'm sure it's from some movie that I did not say.
Ghostbusters. Back off, man. I'm a scientist. That's also a great T-shirt.
Was that Bill Murray in Ghostbusters?
Yeah. Okay. So Ghostbusters is funny because these guys are working on anti-ghost things at Columbia University. And
Anti-ghost things? What is an anti-ghost thing?
yeah,
A zapper?
they have this, yeah, a zapper, a ghost zapper. Let's put it that way. So,
Ghost zapper.
so
Exactly what anyone at an Ivy League school thinks about on a daily basis.
anyway, they're doing the
Zapping
research.
ghosts.
They're doing the research down at Morningside campus, and the dean calls them in, and he says, "I'm suspending your funding." And I just laughed so hard, as if you get any bloody funding from the university to do anything. Back off, man. What is it?
I listened to Twiff.
Oh, I listen to Twiv.
Yeah.
Listen.
So
Isn't that a great shirt?
It is a great shirt. So let me get this straight. 3 schmagegis at Columbia University are going to make a ghost zapper for ghosts that don't really
Exist,
like,
yes. Yeah.
yeah, exist. And then the dean says that I'm no longer going to fund this ridiculous project. Okay.
But
this
as
whole
you know,
movie is ridiculous.
what dean do you know of funds any science at Columbia? I mean, the most they give you 25 grand, and then you can't do anything with that, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But I think the whole movie is ridiculous. The ghost zappers.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun. So is Breakfast at Tiffany's ridiculous too, right?
I'm sorry, what?
I knew I would get her. I knew I would get her.
Again, there's stuff that's coming into these AirPods that just
Doesn't make sense.
Gibberish. It's just gibberish.
So anyway, Hat, thank you for the T-shirt. I wrote it down in my book. I'm going to make, well, when I make it is another thing, but I need to get the design down, Oh, and Doreen and I and her husband went to the Great Dane pub. So next time I'm in Wisconsin, I may never go back to Madison. I just might not go. But if I do, we can all go to the Great Dane, yeah. Claudia's afraid of SARS, MERS, and the like. Well, SARS-1 is gone. MERS, yeah, if you go to the Middle East and you kiss a camel, you could get MERS, for sure. Well, thank you, Elise, for your contribution. Don't worry about doing good as these days go by. Look, the laughing and crying because I said as these days go by. You made such a big deal of that, Amy, right? As these days go by, you said it's every day, 24 hours a day. Twiv has been irreplaceable during COVID. Nothing else like it. Thank you so much, Elise.
Oh, wow. Richard worked on Ghostbusters 1 and 2.
Oh, good job, Richard. Yeah, I like Ghostbusters 1. But, Richard, you remember the Columbia University scene. The business about the dean funding them is BS, okay? Deans don't fund research. Okay, Luis is afraid of Machupo. Yep. Now, what does this Dwayne Reed have to be New York about it? Dwayne Reed is a drugstore in New York. Oh, so you're going to go to Dwayne Reed.
It's also 2 streets that meet on a corner.
It's a drugstore, right?
Yeah, but the drugstore is named after the 2 streets in Tribeca.
Really? Dwayne and Reed? No.
Yes!
Is Dwayne Reed just a New York thing, or is it all over? Is it a chain?
No, it used to be here, but now it got bought by Walgreens.
Mark, how do you know this being in Australia? What is this, like urban legend stuff?
You should know something about the city.
Is there a good time of season to get the flu shot? Not too soon. Don't get it in August. October, November is, I think, the perfect time. I think Microbe TV is really good. Thank you, Billy Bob. I really appreciate it. I'm going to remember that next time I feel a little bit sad about how things are going. I literally plan on staying home most of the winter. I've grown enough food and canned enough food that I probably wouldn't have to leave. Okay, that's good. I'm going. I'm traveling. I've been traveling a lot. I just came back from Little Rock, Arkansas. Anybody from Little Rock here? I had a nice 3 nights there. Was it 3? No, 2 nights. I had dinner at 42, the restaurant in the Clinton Presidential Library. And Amy, the wine glasses had the presidential seal on it.
That's cool.
How cool is that? I was very, very impressed with the restaurant. Michael has never tested positive. Was back in person teaching. High school had a mask mandate. No mask mandate now. Columbia has a mask mandate until September 30th. Yep. Oh, Bully is from a place that has dengue, Zika, chikungunya, yellow fever, and probably malaria. Where do you think that is, Amy? That's a good quiz question. What area of the world has dengue, Zika, chikungunya, yellow fever, and probably malaria? Indonesia? Malaysia?
Central America.
Could be also Central America. Yellow fever, though, in Central America?
Maybe. Do you think it's more like, I mean, I'm not sure that Vietnam has a lot of chikungunya or Zika, but there are islands in the like by the Virgin Islands that are definitely hot spots for all of those things.
I've had mosquitoes bite me through a shirt. Interesting. And Peter, yes, she had a long proboscis. Not he, because only the female mosquitoes take blood meals. Very good, Peter. Thank you very much. I love it. Thank you, Doreen, for your contribution to science communication. Really appreciate it. Where can I find a table translating covariance 2122X format to BAX.X? I think covariance.org will do that for you. All right. Yes, covariance.org will do that. Could you please restate what you touched on? Bebtelovimab is the only monoclonal that currently works against BA, what was it, BA 4.6? All the Omicrons. Works against everything. Evusheld is no longer effective against BA 4.6. I've gotten flu shots every year for 20 plus years, never had a reaction like I had to Moderna. Any idea why they're so different? Well, there are different components in the Moderna, right? The
It's different antigens.
Total different antigen, different component, very different. Not surprising. Do you know what Lori Garrett likes to drink? I have no idea.
She likes red wine.
She does?
Mm-hmm.
How did you know that?
I served it to her.
You did? Oh, at the incubator.
Yeah, I served her red wine. Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting. She took it and drank it, right?
Yeah. She was talking to Steve Morris and she said, could the girl get me some red wine? Went and got her red wine.
The girl. Is that what she called you? That's good. Larry is scheduled for total hip in November. I think you're okay with flu shot in October.
Yeah, for sure.
Tom says, Tom, our moderator, thank you. It was due to Vincent's online Columbia course some years ago. I began to mask for rodent-infested sheds. Here, pack rats related to deer mouse rule and make a terrible mess. Cute, though. Yes, I did talk about that. Thank you, Bad Cat, for your contribution. 2 years of answering our questions. Yeah, and we're still going strong because Dr. Rosenfeld is really devoted, as am I. I, 7 of 7, got a parking ticket at the University of Maryland, too, after I had paid at their thing, so I had to call and argue since I had the receipt. Do you have your receipt?
No, I got this code thing from the guy. I obviously did not do this right.
Sorry. I can
it's
pay
okay.
you the
He's
money
trying,
if you'd like.
He's trying to figure it out, supposedly.
If Omicron is now predominant, why bivalent? Because the ancestral worked really well, and they don't want to throw that away because we don't know how well the BA part is going to work going forward. Okay. Here's Richard. I received my bivalent this past week. My doc was on my case. I know the science since I listen to you folks, but I want to get along with my doc. Yeah, I don't blame you. You have to get along with your doc. It's okay. No problem. Primary vaccination isn't even necessary to access most services or stay on many, many jobs, so why would booster become mandated? Not going to happen for a vast majority of places. No, I take your word for that. How can you prevent a virus from entering your body? You put yourself in a BSL-4 suit or a BSL-3 suit, right, Amy?
Oh,
Amy?
you need the little headgear thing, right? Yeah, you need the headgear thing.
Yeah, Amy has a BSL-3 suit.
Not so, yeah, it's not so comfortable, to be honest.
Lisa, I was told to get my first 2 vaccines in 2 different arms. Yes, some people will tell you that, and other people will say it doesn't matter. You're going to get both, for sure. Morris, thank you for your contribution to science communication. Excuse me. Really appreciate it. Block or reduce transmission to what degree? Need to learn number and report that. Well, it's always reduce. It's never to block, right?
Right.
Transmission. When we're talking about blocking
It's never
transmission,
to block.
it's never blocking. How do people catch parvovirus? Usually respiratory transmission. That's what Emma Thompson said. By the way, folks, did you like the Emma Thompson? I'm surprised that more people didn't like it because it's what's happening, the outbreak of pediatric hepatitis. Everybody wanted to know what was happening. I got the person who explained it, and hardly anybody's watching it. I don't get it. And then you're going to see in a month that MD podcast, what is it, Cram, MedCram, they'll do the same bloody story and get 1 million views. That's what I complained to Amy about, okay? We do things really well, and then other people copy them, do it less well, and they get more views.
Well, no, they don't do it less well. They do it shorter. And most people don't want to sit there an hour. They want to sit there 5 minutes and get to the main gist of the story.
Excuse me. People sit through 3 hours of baseball and 3 hours of football? Seriously? They can't sit through an hour podcast? I don't get the world. I don't get it. Dr. Racaniello, Rosenfeld, and all the other colleagues, you have consistently been a beacon of good and accurate information regarding all things virology. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Are you both planning to get the COVID-19 booster vaccine soon? I am not.
No, not really. Not unless it's required.
Richard says, my wife enrolled in the Moderna RSV phase 3 last week. 33,000 folks. Very good. That's very interesting. You think this is the mRNA vaccine, Amy? The RSV?
Oh, for sure.
Cool. Why do we keep hearing about the inhaled vaccines over and over again without any pushback? The ones exist already aren't so great. Now, the only one that exists is the flu mist, which isn't so great. And yeah, people like Amy was just saying, this guy talking about it, blocking infection. That's what people think it's going to do. It's not going to block infection. I don't get it. It's not going to go against biology, which is antibody levels always decline. Masha, I wish I could see you in person, but I graduated a few months ago and moved to New York. Working at Pfizer, still get UMD seminar announcement. I got so excited when I found you have a talk.
Oh, that's
Masha,
great.
you're at Pfizer. You're not too far from the incubator. Come visit. You know, we're on 7th Avenue and 30th Street. I know Pfizer is right down there. Doesn't the P and Tdap stand for pertussis? Yeah, it does. But it's also got Tdap plus IPV. Let's see what the initial for that.
There is no initial. It's just Tdap.
Tdap is combined with IPV. It's a combination vaccine. Yeah, there's no. So it's Tdap / IPV. Yeah. That's it. So right, Tdap alone is not IPV, but Tdap/IPV is both of them. Yeah, the P is pertussis, but there's a separate IPV. Do you do a second talk at UMD, Amy?
Yeah, and I'm doing 3. So I did one this
cool.
month. I'm going to the vet med department in December. And then in March, I'm going back to the cell biology department.
Cool. Very good.
Yeah.
More than one polio cube. Yeah, you need, for OPV, you need more than one dose for sure.
It depends on what you got also. If you got monovalent or trivalent.
Liz
You
wants
got
to know
different responses.
what Daniel advises for the number of months after rituximab to get a
My
vaccine.
mom got it exactly the same time that she was taking rituximab.
The vaccine?
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to ask Daniel, Liz, send an email to daniel@microbe.tv. And do it tonight because tomorrow I compile the questions for him. This is concerning. How many of us recall only getting one sugar cube? Yeah, I remember only getting one, but the actual dose is more than one. So there you go.
I'm sure you all got 3.
Yeah. Polio is included. It's mixed. It's given at the same time. DTaP/IPV. Okay, so I know P is pertussis. Yeah. Why have pediatric hospitalizations been significantly higher with Delta and Omicron compared to Alpha and D514G? I think hospitalization is not an accurate metric, and it changes with time in different populations. Stacy wants to know, who's the artist behind you? My old boss had one too.
Keith Haring.
Thank you, Elise, for your contribution. We have a bunch of people in our group, remember, only getting one sugar tube, a memory thing or widespread incomplete vaccination.
Oh, it's just a memory thing.
Yeah. I have a card that says I got 3, but I only remember getting 1. So the card should be the definitive answer, not your memory. The Public Health Podcast will go up this weekend. We're recording it tomorrow. Okay, we're going to have to wrap up soon here, so let me see if there's anyone else to thank here, because we don't want to. Amy, I'm sure, hasn't eaten dinner yet, right? I'm sorry.
Okay.
We will go through and Ian, thank you so much for your contribution. I walk into the incubator and I see Bluetti there every day, backing up my power. I think the A is acellular pertussis. Tetanus, diphtheria, acellular pertussis. Eurico again. I'll send you data on OPV in children's tonsils. Okay.
Well, that's been known. That was observed. That's been observed.
Send the data.
That was reported by Bowden.
Yeah, that's correct. But OPV may not be what Bodian didn't look at OPV because he was before OPV.
Doesn't matter. It's still infectious polio.
Well, that's why I asked if these children had been recently immunized.
Well, they're all probably recently immunized, and Brazil definitely is OPV because the guy from my postdoc is running BSL-3 in Argentina, and he wrote a paper saying that they can find 1 in 3, but not 2 because the vaccine has been changed.
If you get a moleskin, you will never forget it because it's so expensive. Indeed. That's great. Anyway, there are a lot of good questions here. I have to skip over because it's now 2 hours in and we can't keep Amy any longer. Thank you, Eurico, again. I love you guys. Good night, Eurico. Rest well in your And Visto likes the long form TWIV. Yes, I like it too. Lori is sad when TWIV is only an hour. This is great. I just love it. I want to thank our moderators, Steph, Les, Vanity Nutrition, and Tom for keeping a civil atmosphere tonight. I want to thank all of you, 436 of you, for coming tonight. Please come back next week at Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to go over to vaccinated.us and buy a vaccinated T-shirt. And don't forget, if you're interested, to email Amy and apply for her technician's position. Amy Rosenfeld is my co-host here on Q&A with A&V. Thank you again, Amy, for joining us tonight.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Bye.
And be safe.